Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, welcome to you as well. My name is Jennifer and this is my channel. Welcome. Today I want to talk about something that has been brought up a lot recently, and I wanted to set the record straight and to put it out there to kind of squash any kind of conspiracy theories that are going around. This is about the fact that I have a second channel. Well, actually it was the first channel. This is technically my second channel, although I no longer post on the first channel. The first channel, I will leave a link to in the description below if you want to go over there and watch those videos. I honestly can't remember how many videos are on that channel. I started that channel over 10 years ago. It's probably about 10 years ago now. And I posted some videos. I made a few introduction videos talking about my past, what brought me to YouTube, how my life was changing, what I was struggling with at the time. And then for some reason, I don't know, I cannot even tell you why I decided to make a new channel. If I probably would guess that I wanted to change the name of my channel, and I didn't know back then if you could change the name, so I just made another channel with a new name. I don't honestly remember why I made a new channel, but that is my guess. And I just left that channel there. It was never my intention to hide it. I didn't privatize any of the videos. Every single video that I made on that channel is public for anybody to see that they want. I've even mentioned it a few times on this channel. I've even commented with a link to some people who started asking a few months ago about that channel, that people had found it. It was never like it was hidden. So if people like just happened to buy it, it was a surprise to some people because I didn't leave a link to it in my description. I will start leaving a link to it in my description. I'm not ashamed of anything on that channel. But like I said, I did leave a link to it a while back in a comment. Somebody had asked about it and I linked that channel so they could watch it. You're all welcome to go over there. So after I stopped making videos on that channel, I don't even think I've logged into that channel in years, honestly. There's no reason for me to log into it. This videos still stand. Like I said, I'm not hiding anything, and nothing will be privatized. It's all out there for everyone to see. I'm not ashamed of anything I posted. There's things from my past that I'm not proud of, but I am certainly not ashamed of anything that I have shared. So this leads me into the things that I talked about on that channel. And it's kind of a touchy subject, and they are things that, like I said, they're things that I'm not proud of, and some things that are disturbing that people are saying. A lot of things when people make up lies about me, because I've had many, many lies told about me on the internet, and that's fine too. But when it comes to my mom and twisting circumstances from my past, that's when it becomes upsetting to me. And I know people do it to upset me, so I have to remember that and take it with a grain of salt. And that's why I've just been blocking and deleting those people that leave those kinds of comments. So let me just start. I'll just start and tell you about my history and my past. For a lot of you don't know, I've had a lot of subscribers that have just joined me recently or in the last year and don't know a lot of my history. Starting back when I was a child, I grew up as an only child. I was extremely spoiled and I guess rotten, as maybe a lot of people would say. Me and my mom have always had a super close bond, and I think that she would agree if she was here today that our relationship was on the toxic side. It was codependent, and it was not a healthy one as the years went by. And that stemmed from what I went through, what she went through. A lot of you know that as a child, I was physically and sexually abused by my father for a number of years, from around the age of 4, like my earliest memories, until my parents divorced around the age of 12 or 13 when my dad finally left our house. At that time, my mom still didn't know. She knew about the physical abuse starting. That was what prompted her to finally move him out of the house and divorce him. There were other circumstances involved, but that was like the final straw when she knew that he was being physically abusive to me. So after that happened, my mom felt incredibly guilty for not being able to protect me. I did start going to therapy after my parents divorced. There was a point in time where I had a therapist who wanted me to go as an inpatient for treatment for behavioral issues, for eating disorder. My mom was afraid to let me go because she was afraid to not have me with her, which was where the codependency comes in at. And there was a period of time after my dad left where I was extremely confused. I went through this big period of I missed him because he was no longer in my life. But I also was relieved because I was no longer going through the abuse. So I was very, very confused. And I'm not proud of this, but it is a part of my past and I'm not going to hide from it. It's something that I have asked for forgiveness for, and I continue to ask for forgiveness for. Me and my mom were able to move past it. She forgave me completely. Me and my mom got into fist fights. I did not punch my mom in the face or slap her in the face, but we did hit each other, push each other, and it was not something that I'm proud of. I'm extremely ashamed of it, but it is something that happened in my life. I had a lot of anger. I can't explain it. I just had a lot of anger, and that lasted for a couple of years, that anger, those anger issues. And then one day it just stopped. I don't know why it stopped. I'm thankful that it stopped, but then I just stopped being angry. I guess maybe I just worked through all those feelings, and thankfully God took those feelings away from me. Also around the time that started, there was other chaos going on in my family. My grandmother was diagnosed with cancer at that time, so a lot of the attention had to be focused on my grandmother, taking her to appointments and trying to get her healthy and to take care of her. Of course, she did pass away, though, of cancer. So a lot of the comments that I've been seeing are saying that I was hitting my mom and abusing my mother as she was dying, which is extremely inaccurate. That was very early on in my life, in my teens. And not that that makes it any better, but it is a timeline and things that are not accurate that people are saying. And I did explain all this in a video. I'll go back and I'll find the video that I talked about this, and I will leave a link to that video as well as the channel. So at that time, after my anger issues were over, I never, after that as an adult, even in my later teen years, I never laid a finger on my mom. We were extremely codependent on each other, of course, but I was never abusive to my mother at all. And she was not abusive to me either. I guess you could say codependency could verge on abuse for both of us because it was very unhealthy. She, like I said, she felt extremely guilty about not being able to protect me. I honestly, as the time progressed and my eating disorder got worse and I stopped going to therapy, I think my mom got scared that they wanted to send me away somewhere, and when my mom heard the word send me away, she thought that that was going to be like a forever thing and not just a temporary time to help me get the help that I needed. And she was afraid, and she did what she thought was best. And I'm sure if my mom was here, she would be the first one to admit that she made many mistakes raising me, but those mistakes were done out of love. And we all only can do the best we can with what we have to work with. And she didn't come from that great of an upbringing. Her father was an alcoholic. Her parents divorced when she was young. It's just like a ongoing thing of broken people create broken people, and if you don't heal before you move on, then you just keep repeating the process and the pattern, and that was something that happened in my family. So later on, in my later teens, right before my grandmother passed away, she passed away in 1993, and I was around the age of 17. I finally told my mom and my grandma before she passed away what had happened to me as a child. I told her about the sexual abuse, and there were a couple therapists that wanted to know and asked her if that was something that happened to me, because a lot of the characteristics I was displaying throughout my early teen years was indicative and indicated that that was something that had happened to me. Of course, I denied it back then because I was even asked if that was something that happened or if he hurt me or hit me. I never even admitted to them that I was physically abused. I don't know why I wanted to protect my dad. I think I was embarrassed. I'm no longer embarrassed because it wasn't my fault. It was something that he did. Forgiving him, though, is something that I still struggle with, trying to move forward, because it's something that holds me back, and it's a big part of the reason why I struggle the way I do today with eating and food. Jean and I were just having a conversation yesterday, in fact, about overeating and addiction. Food is a comfort for me because I remember my very first memories of overeating and binging was when my dad would abuse me in the middle of the night. He would make me food, and I would eat the food because I knew during the abuse I just focused on that I would have food afterwards, and then that food became a comfort for me. So after I had told my mom what had happened to me, she felt even worse about not being able to protect me, about letting this happen to me. And then my grandma passed away. My mom was still struggling with her divorcing my father because he just wasn't the person that she had thought he was for all those years they were married. And it was just a very turbulent time for both of us. I never understood when I was young, because I was young and I was going through my own thing, of how my mom struggled herself with depression. And I wish now that we would have both gotten the help we needed and we could have both been a healthier people. But we can't turn back time. We can only learn from the past and know that in the future. That's why I put that story out there. That is the reason why I shared my past and what had happened to me, because I want someone else to hear the story and learn about there is other options. You don't have to stay quiet to reach out and get help, the help that you need. I know that I haven't always acted and followed through with getting help that I need, but I don't want others to make that mistake. So after my grandmother passed away, and I was around 17 at that time, my late teens, my early 20s, that's when my weight skyrocketed big time. I was always overweight, big, but I became housebound. I stopped leaving my house when my grandma died. My mom got a job at the time, so I was pretty much stuck at home under my own quarantine, I guess you could call it. I was afraid. My anxiety level was through the roof. I just felt safe at home and I didn't want to go anywhere. And then I used the excuse that my mom was working. I didn't have a way to go anywhere. Of course, I should have been pushed out at the age of 18. I really wish my mom would have just said, you need to get out and get a job and be on your own. I think that would have maybe prompted me to be a different person. I don't know. And I'm not blaming my mom at all. Like I said, my mom did what she felt was best, and it was out of love. So during those late teens, early 20s, like I said, my weight skyrocketed and I stopped leaving my house. I still, left my room at that time. I went outside, but I didn't leave my property. So during my 20s, even though I wasn't leaving my property, I was still pretty active because my mom was working outside the home. And during the span of probably 10 or 15 years, we had 3 different family members that lived with us, 3 of my great aunts, my grandma's sisters, and during their times when they were very ill and they eventually passed away, 2 of them did pass away in my home, and then another one eventually went to a nursing home when my mom got too ill to take care of her. But I was, their full-time caregiver during the day when my mom was working. I changed them, bathed them, all those kinds of things. And So even though I wasn't leaving the house, I was still active inside the house. Then after they passed away and things got worse, my mom was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, which she never ended up having in the first place. She was misdiagnosed. They diagnosed her with that, but in reality she had cancer the whole time. And I believe that if she was diagnosed properly, that there could have been a chance that she would have still been alive. I don't know. Anyhow, so when my mom was diagnosed with Parkinson's, it was a very eye-opening moment. It should have been an even more eye-opening moment that it pushed me to get myself on track and so I could be able to take care of her. But instead, it kind of paralyzed me to the effect that I just didn't want to deal with it. Like I've mentioned in a lot of my videos, my stance growing up, my dad always taught me that if you don't want to deal with something, you just pretend it's not there and it won't be true. So that's how I dealt with many things in my life, and that included. So in my early 30s, probably around 29, I'm not very sure of the time frame, the exact time frame, but by the time I was 30, I was pretty much bedbound, not leaving my room. I would get up to go to the bathroom, take a shower, and get back in bed, and that's where I stayed for about 4 years of my life. My mom would bring me my food to my room because at that time I was unable to get out of bed, to walk very far, to be able to go down the steps. So after my mom was misdiagnosed, the Parkinson's medicine that they started her on never worked, which made sense because it wasn't Parkinson's, and her health just went downhill very quickly. And there came a time when it was very difficult for her to climb the stairs. If you read, and I didn't read until after she passed away, that she did actually pass away from renal cell carcinoma, which is kidney cancer. That one of the symptoms of that cancer is leg pain and the inability to walk correctly. So that was something that she was struggling with, and it was very difficult for her to take care of both of us. I was not in a position where I was able to get out of bed to do anything because I had eaten myself into bed. So yes, it was my fault, and a lot of people were saying that I forced my mom to bring me food when she was ill. I guess in a broad sense, she was forced to do it because there was no one else to do it, and she had to care for both of us. I didn't demand things on her, but she knew she had to take care of me. She knew she had to take care of herself, and because, like I said, there was no one else to do it. But people are twisting those facts and making it sound like I was a dictator and I was telling my mom what to do and telling her to bring me this and forcing her to crawl up the stairs. There was a time when, right at the end, when she got very bad, that she had to scoot down the stairs because she was unable to walk down the stairs. And looking back now, I am very ashamed of myself that I didn't try to force myself to get out of bed to try to do those things, but I just wasn't able to climb the stairs either. It was my own fault I wasn't able to, but the weight that I was, my not being out of bed for 4 years at that time, I was not physically able to. And like I said, yes, that's my fault, but it doesn't change the circumstances that I wasn't able to do it. Like I said, I'm very ashamed of that. It's something that I still think about often now. And I have asked forgiveness for that, my part in that, many, many times. And I probably will continue asking for forgiveness for that. I don't know if I'll be forgiven. I believe that God forgives all types of things, no matter how horrible the sin. I believe that we can be forgiven. And like I said, sharing this story, I have never shared these things because I'm proud of them. I am extremely embarrassed of them. but it is a fact of my life, and I'm not hiding from the fact that it happened. There's nothing in my life that I won't admit to. I may not be proud of it, and I may not want to admit to it, but my past is my past. The things that have happened, happened, and I'm not going to hide from anything. I have been completely open with everyone. There's nothing that I have hid from people. This is the worst of the worst of my life. This is the most embarrassing, the most shameful thing that has happened in my life, and I've put it out there because I want people to understand where I'm coming from, understand my past. I wanted to share that with people. And a lot of people were saying that the reason why I did the copyright strikes was because this person, who she is, whoever she is, found those videos and was talking about them. It has nothing to do with that. She put a twist on those videos and made things seem like things that happened really did not happen. Just like a lot of people that have left comments, they made it seem like things that happened were in different circumstances that just weren't true. Everything on that channel, those videos, like I said, my whole story that I've told before, that I just told now, will stand. I will not hide any of those videos. It's out there. I shared them for a reason back then, and I stand behind sharing them, just like I'm sharing it now with you guys. An updated share of, I'm probably just repeated the exact same story that I told. If I left anything out, you're more than welcome to ask me about it, and I will answer to the best of my ability in the comments. That is, to my knowledge, what I shared, and that is what happened in my past. So the fact that people, I'm trying to decide whether I was actually going to make this video or not, because I just kind of wanted to let it pass. But then the more I thought about it, not saying anything and not making this video is kind of like, I want to keep it quiet and I don't want to acknowledge it. And I don't have, like I said, I'm not embarrassed that I shared it. I'm embarrassed of what I did in my past, not embarrassed that I shared it, because it is a fact and it is my life and I don't have anything to hide. I think secrets keep us sick, and that is part of trying to use the 12-step program and to recover from an eating disorder. It's important to be honest about the things that keep us sick and the things that keep us emotionally tied to the addiction that we're trying to use to fix ourselves. And those feelings of shame is part of what has kept me feeling horrible about myself, that I am an awful person. And I know that I was an awful person for some of the things I did. So that's basically all I have to talk about in this video. I wanted to clear those things up. I never tried to hide my other channel. It is public views, public knowledge. I'm not mad that anybody found that video, those videos. There's multiple videos on that channel. I'm not mad that anybody is talking about them. I will leave a link in the description below if you want to go check that channel out. If you want to subscribe to it, that's fine, but I haven't even logged into that channel in years and I don't plan to. There's nothing that I don't want to hide anything. I don't want to privatize any videos. I don't want to. I'm no longer posting on that channel. I haven't posted, like I said, in years. The last video I posted was asking people to subscribe to this channel, so there's no need for me to go back to that channel. And it was to clear up the lies that are being told, the people that are twisting the facts of my life, trying to make it seem like I abused my mother as she was dying, and that I just twisting the facts of my life, and it's just not the way they happened. I'm not trying to say that it makes me any better of a person. I am absolutely ashamed of the things I did and the way I acted back then. There are even things in my recent past that I am ashamed of and not proud of the way I acted, but it's what stands. I believe that you can't live in the past. I've asked for forgiveness. Me and my mom put a lot of what happened behind us. She's forgiven me, and I know the kind of person she was, that she would have forgiven me, and she has forgiven me. I believe that with all my heart. My mom loved me more than anything in this world, and I believe that, like I said, she would have been the first one to tell you that our relationship was very codependent, was very unhealthy, and I think that she would say that she would have wished she would have done things differently. We all wish there are things in our past that we would have done differently, but you work with what you have, you work with where you are, and you can't go back and change things. You can only learn from the past and hopefully change the future. I haven't done a very good job of changing the future. A lot of my old past ways have just repeated themselves, and it's an ongoing process to try to change those. A lot of times I get tired and I know the cycle continues and I get frustrated with myself. That's why I give up very easily, because it feels like there is no hope. But I have to keep reminding myself that there is hope, and you have to keep trying. You can't just give up. That's why when I fail on a diet, I just keep trying and I keep trying. And I know a lot of people think that it's lying about not wanting to change. I don't know anybody who is morbidly obese who doesn't want to change, who is just okay with the way they are. That is obviously not the case with me. I don't want to just stay the way I am. Do I keep failing? Yeah, I do, because the cycle that I'm on. But there will never be a time where I don't try. In fact, I'm trying right now. I have made some changes in my life, and I'll talk about that in a different video. I have started something new. I will kind of touch on that, but I'm not going to go into it a lot until I'm actually seeing results and you're seeing results. I don't want to promise something and not follow through again. I've done too much of that in my life, and I don't want to do that anymore. So, but I'll talk about all that in a future video. Like I said, this was just to clear up the rumors, the lies, the blatant lies that are being told about me, which I know that people are still going to lie and people will believe what they want, but at least I'm putting it out there, my truth out there, and whether you choose to believe that, that's fine. If not, that's fine too. But I feel better knowing that I have put it out there, and I'm not hiding anything, to make it known that there is nothing to hide. So that's all I have to talk about. Like I said, if there's anything that you don't understand, I will try to answer those questions in the comments below. As far as my deleting comments and blocking people, if you're ignorant and rude, like I said before, I will block you and I will delete the comment. I'm not standing for that. Being honest is one thing, being real isn't one thing, but being rude is uncalled for, and it's not going to happen. At least on my channel. You can go to other channels and talk about me all you want, but on my channel, it's not going to happen. Like I said, I will have a little bit more tolerance on this video because of the content that I was talking about. People probably might have other questions that they want answered, and I will do my best to answer those questions to the best of my ability, and I will be honest with you about them. So if there is anything you want to know, leave it below and I will answer it. I hope you guys are having a good day, and I will see you again with a much upbeat, much more positive video next time, I promise. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, everyone.